Hello, TV Days Drama Digest say that today we're diving headfirst into the turbulent, heart-wrenching saga of Xander Arrested and Sarah Horton. A couple whose love has weathered countless storms but now teeters on the edge of an abyss so deep it threatens to swallow their marriage whole. Will Sarah finally see the darkness that has reclaimed Xander's soul and walk away from him forever? Or will their love, battered and bruised, find a way to survive the chaos? Let's unravel the tangled web of secrets, betrayals, and violence that has Salem buzzing with anticipation. A love built on fragile foundations. To understand the seismic events shaking Xander and Sarah's marriage, we must first revisit the foundation of their relationship, a love story as passionate as it is precarious. Xander Arrested, the brooding bad boy with a heart of gold buried beneath layers of ruthlessness, has always been a man of contradictions. His past is a tapestry of dark deeds. Corporate espionage, blackmail, and even a stint as a hired gun for the most unsavory characters in Salem. Yet, Sarah Horton, the compassionate and principled doctor, saw something redeemable in him. Her unwavering belief in his potential for goodness became the cornerstone of their romance, a beacon that guided Xander away from his criminal tendencies, or so it seemed. Their journey to the altar was anything but smooth. From Xander's initial obsession with Sarah to their heartbreaking split over his lies about her baby's death, their love has been tested by fire. Yet, through every trial, Sarah's faith in Xander's ability to change held firm. She saw the man who risked everything to protect her, who stood by her side when her world crumbled. Their wedding day, a moment of triumph over their tumultuous past, was a promise to face the future together, hand in hand. But promises, as Salem's residents know all too well, are fragile things, easily shattered by the weight of secrets and the pull of old habits. The shadow of Philip's deceptions, the latest storm to engulf Xander and Sarah, began with a betrayal that struck at the heart of their family. Philip Arrested, Xander's half-brother and a man whose own history is steeped in ambition and deceit, set the stage for the chaos that now threatens to tear the couple apart. Philip, ever the schemer, concocted a plan to steal a revolutionary new drug developed by Sarah's hospital, a drug with the potential to save lives and generate millions in revenue for Titan Industries, the Arrested family empire. But Philip's motives were far from altruistic. Driven by a desire to outshine his brother and secure his place as Victor Arrested's true heir, Philip saw the theft as a means to an end, a way to cement his legacy while undermining Xander's standing in the family. Sarah, however, was not oblivious to Philip's machinations. As a doctor with access to the hospital's research division, she uncovered his plan early on. Her discovery placed her in an impossible position: expose Philip and risk destabilizing the fragile peace within the Arrested clan, or stay silent and protect the family she had fought so hard to build with Xander. Sarah chose silence, but not without reason. She feared that revealing Philip's treachery would awaken the beast within Xander. The volatile, vengeful man who once solved problems with fists and fury rather than words. Her silence was not born of cowardice, but of a desperate hope to shield Xander from his own demons, to keep him on the path of redemption she had fought so hard to pave. Xander's descent into darkness, Sarah's fears, it turns out, were not unfounded. When Xander discovered Philip's plot, through a combination of his own suspicions and a careless slip from a Titan employee loyal to him, the reaction was as explosive as Sarah had dreaded. Xander Arrested, the man who had sworn to leave his violent past behind, saw red. The betrayal by his own brother, coupled with the threat to Sarah's work and the family's legacy, ignited a primal rage within him. To Xander, this was not just about a stolen drug, it was personal. Philip's actions were a direct challenge to his authority, a slap in the face to the man who had clawed his way back from the brink to prove himself worthy of Sarah's love. In a moment that will go down as one of the most shocking in recent days of our lives' history, Xander confronted Philip in a deserted warehouse on the outskirts of Salem, a fitting stage for the brutal showdown that ensued. Words quickly gave way to blows, and what began as a heated argument escalated into a full-blown brawl. Xander, his emotions a tangled knot of betrayal, anger, and wounded pride, unleashed a torrent of violence on his half-brother. Punches landed with sickening force, kicks sent Philip sprawling, and by the time Xander's rage subsided, Philip was a broken man, lying bloodied and unconscious on the cold concrete floor. The aftermath was chaos. Philip was rushed to Salem University Hospital, where Sarah herself was among the doctors fighting to save his life. The sight of her former love, now clinging to life because of her husband's actions, was a dagger to Sarah's heart. Every beep of the heart monitor, every labored breath Philip took, was a reminder of the darkness she had tried so desperately to keep at bay. As Philip lay in a coma, his prognosis uncertain, the weight of Sarah's silence grew heavier. Had she spoken out sooner, could she have prevented this tragedy? The question gnawed at her, a relentless torment that threatened to unravel her composure. Kate's wrath and Sarah's secret. The ripples of Xander's actions spread far beyond the hospital room. Kate Roberts, Philip's fiercely protective mother, descended upon Xander like a hurricane. Her grief and fury were palpable, her words laced with venom, as she confronted him in the hospital corridor. "You're a monster, Xander," she spat, her voice echoing through the sterile halls. "You've always been a thug, and you'll never change. You've destroyed my son, and I'll make sure you pay for it." Kate's accusations were not just personal, they were a public condemnation, drawing the attention of everyone from hospital staff to the ever-nosy residents of Salem. Her words cut Xander to the core, not because they were untrue, but because they echoed the fears he had buried deep within himself. For Sarah, Kate's tirade was a wake-up call. She had always known Xander's capacity for violence, but she had convinced herself that love could tame the beast. Now, with Philip fighting for his life and Kate's accusations ringing in her ears, Sarah was forced to confront the reality of her husband's actions. The man she loved, the man she had vowed to stand by, had reverted to the brutal tactics of his past. And worse, her own silence had played a role in this disaster. By keeping Philip's plan a secret, she had inadvertently set the stage for Xander's rage, and the guilt was crushing her. The tension between Sarah and Xander reached a boiling point in a confrontation that was as heartbreaking as it was inevitable. In the privacy of their home, away from the prying eyes of Salem, the couple faced off in a battle of words that laid bare their deepest fears and insecurities. Sarah's voice trembled with a mix of anger and despair as she demanded answers. "How could you do this, Xander? How could you let it come to this? I kept quiet about Philip because I was afraid you'd do something like this, and now look at what's happened." Her words were a raw, unfiltered expression of her pain, each syllable a plea for the man she loved to prove her wrong. Xander, for his part, was unapologetic, at least at first. "Philip deserved it, Sarah," he roared, his eyes blazing with defiance. "He was stealing from you, from us, from the family. What was I supposed to do? Let him walk all over us?" But beneath his bravado, there was a flicker of doubt, a crack in the armor he had built around his heart. Xander knew he had crossed a line, and the look in Sarah's eyes, a mixture of disappointment and fear, was a wound far deeper than any physical blow he had ever endured. The fracturing of a marriage as the argument escalated, the true cost of Xander's actions began to surface. Sarah's secret about Philip's plan, once a shield to protect their marriage, became a wedge driving them apart. Xander's shock at her silence was palpable. You knew, he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. You knew what Philip was doing, and you didn't tell me? The betrayal cut both ways, and for a moment, the couple stood on opposite sides of an unbridgeable chasm. Sarah's decision to keep the truth from him, born of love and fear, was now a weapon in Xander's hands, a justification for his actions. If you'd trusted me, Sarah, maybe I wouldn't have had to take matters into my own hands, he said, his words laced with a bitter edge. But Sarah was not one to back down. Trust you, she countered, her voice rising with indignation. How can I trust you when you prove, time and time again, that you'll always choose violence over reason? I thought you'd changed, Xander. I thought we'd changed. But maybe I was wrong. Her words hung in the air, a damning indictment of their shared dream. For the first time, Sarah voiced the fear that had been growing in her heart, that Xander's darkness was not a relic of his past, but a fundamental part of who he was. And with that realization came another, even more terrifying question. Could she stay with a man whose actions threatened everything she held dear? The argument ended not with resolution, but with silence, a heavy, oppressive silence that spoke volumes. Xander stormed out, leaving Sarah alone with her thoughts and the weight of their crumbling marriage. In the days that followed, the couple drifted further apart, their interactions marked by strained politeness and unspoken accusations. Sarah threw herself into her work at the hospital, where Philip's condition remained critical. Each visit to his bedside was a reminder of her role in the tragedy, a mirror reflecting her own failures as a wife and a protector of those she loved. The ripple effects in Salem, the fallout from Xander's actions extended far beyond his marriage, sending shockwaves through the tightly knit community of Salem. The Kyriakis family, already fractured by years of rivalry and betrayal, was pushed to the brink. Victor Kyriakis, the patriarch whose approval Xander and Philip had both sought, was torn between loyalty to his sons and the need to protect the family's legacy. His disappointment in Xander was tempered by a grudging respect for his loyalty, but Philip's condition left little room for forgiveness. Victor's silence on the matter spoke louder than any words, a sign that even he was unsure how to navigate the mess his sons had created. Meanwhile, Kate's crusade against Xander took on a life of its own. She rallied allies in Salem, from Brady Black to Chloe Lane, painting Xander as a dangerous liability who needed to be brought to justice. Her campaign was fueled by a mother's love and a thirst for vengeance, but it also exposed the deep divisions within the town. Some saw Xander as a villain who had finally shown his true colors, while others, those who knew the complexities of his heart, wondered if there was more to the story. The debate raged in coffee shops, hospital waiting rooms, and the Brady pub, where whispers of Xander's fate became the talk of the town. For Sarah, the public scrutiny was unbearable. As a Horton, she had always been a pillar of the community, a beacon of integrity in a town often consumed by scandal. Now she found herself at the center of one, her marriage dissected by friends and foes alike. Her mother, Maggie Horton, offered unwavering support, but even Maggie's gentle wisdom could not ease the turmoil in Sarah's heart. "You can't fix him, Sarah," Maggie said softly one evening, her eyes filled with compassion. "You can love him, you can fight for him, but you can't change who he is." Those words, though spoken with love, were a bitter pill, forcing Sarah to confront the possibility that her marriage might be beyond saving. A glimmer of hope or a false dawn. As the days turned into weeks, a flicker of hope emerged from the darkness. Philip's condition began to stabilize, offering a reprieve from the constant fear that had gripped Salem. Sarah, ever the dedicated doctor, found solace in her work, pouring her energy into ensuring Philip's recovery. But even as she tended to her former love, her thoughts were with Xander. Despite everything, she could not erase the memories of their love. The late-night talks, the stolen kisses, the moments when he had shown her a side of himself no one else could see. Was it possible that the man she loved was still there, buried beneath the rage and the mistakes? Xander, too, was grappling with his own demons. Alone in a seedy motel on the edge of town, he replayed the events of that fateful night, each memory a lash against his conscience. He had acted out of love, out of a need to protect Sarah and their future, but the cost had been too high. The image of Philip's broken body haunted him, as did Sarah's tear-streaked face during their argument. For the first time, Xander began to question not just his actions, but his very nature. Was he doomed to be the villain, forever defined by his worst impulses? Or could he find a way to prove to Sarah and to himself that he was more than his mistakes? The turning point came unexpectedly in a quiet moment that held the weight of their entire relationship. Sarah, exhausted from a long shift at the hospital, found Xander waiting for her in the hospital garden, his face etched with a vulnerability she hadn't seen in years. "I'm sorry, Sarah," he said, his voice breaking. "I never wanted to hurt you. I never wanted to be this man again." His words were raw, unfiltered, a plea for forgiveness that pierced Sarah's defenses. For a moment, she saw not the monster Kate had described, but the man she had fallen in love with, the man who had fought for her, who had chosen her over his own darkness time and time again. But forgiveness is not a simple thing in Salem, where trust is hard-won and easily lost. Sarah's heart ached to believe Xander, to bridge the gap that had grown between them, but the scars of his actions were still fresh. "I want to believe you, Xander," she said, her voice trembling. "But I need time. I need to know that this violence, this rage, won't happen again." Her words were not a rejection, but they were not an absolution either. They were a challenge, a call for Xander to prove that he could be the man she needed him to be. What lies ahead for Xander and Sarah? As we leave Xander and Sarah at this crossroads, the future of their marriage hangs in the balance. Will Xander find a way to atone for his actions, to rebuild the trust he has shattered? Or will Sarah, faced with the reality of his darkness, choose to walk away, protecting her heart from further pain? The answers lie in the episodes to come, where secrets will unravel, alliances will shift, and the residents of Salem will face the consequences of their choices. One thing is certain: the drama is far from over. Philip's recovery, Kate's vendetta, and the ever-watchful eyes of Salem's residents will continue to shape the path ahead. Will Xander's love for Sarah be his salvation, or will it be the final nail in the coffin of their marriage? And what if Sarah's secret, the silence that set this tragedy in motion? Will it remain buried, or will it resurface to haunt her in ways she cannot yet imagine? Dear readers, the stage is set for a showdown that will leave Salem reeling. Tune in to Days of Our Lives to witness the next chapter in this gripping saga. Will love conquer all, or will the shadows of the past claim another victim? Share your thoughts, your predictions, and your hopes in the comments below, and join us next time on TV Days Drama Digest for more heart-pounding updates from the world of Salem. We hope you enjoyed it and look forward to sharing more with you in the future. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe TV Days Drama Digest for more updates on Days of Our Lives.